Stop. Just stop. The buzzer hadn't even finished sounding before Derek Chase leaned into his microphone and let the silence do its worst work. 4,000 people sitting inside the Majestic Theater in San Antonio held their breath so completely that you could feel the stage manager coming. A 16-year-old boy stood at the center of that stage, holding a scratched 1978 Fender Stratocaster, his feet still touching the strings, his chest still moving from the last note he played. He had been performing for exactly 47 seconds. Derek Chase didn't raise his voice. That was the fearless part. He spoke the way a surgeon speaks, calm, precise, certain he would not be questioned. That was the secret, most embarrassing thing I have heard on this stage in 11 years. You played three chords, the same three chords, fast, out of time, out of tune, with zero stage presence and zero technical ability. And that guitar, Derek paused. Let the pause look so good. Looks like you pulled it out of a garbage can. I don't know who told you that you had talent, son, but they did you no favors. Put it down. Go home. Because this is not where you belong. 4,000 people did not clap. They did not cheer. They went completely silent. Derek stood still, let something pass through their mind. Nobody clicked on his ears, but everyone considered. Nobody looked at Derek. They looked at the board, and they looked at the man sitting at the far end of the judges' table who had not moved a single muscle since Derek began speaking. His black hat was pulled low. His hands were flat on the table. His eyes were locked on the boy on that stage. Nobody in that building knew what Carlos Santana was about to do next. But in the next 4 minutes, he would say something that 11 years of this television show had never once predicted. And the boy holding that battered guitar would walk off that stage carrying something no buzzer on earth could ever take away. If you've ever been told you weren't good enough, stay right here. Subscribe so you never miss a story like this one. That moment didn't begin on that stage. It began 4 years later, on a Saturday morning in March, in a house on Escalante Street in San Antonio, Texas, where a 44-year-old construction foreman named Luis Rivera made his family breakfast, kissed his wife on the side of her head, and then sat down at the kitchen table and never stood back up. The doctors said it was a cardiac arrest. Sudden, no warning. Luis was gone before the ambulance arrived. His son Marco was 12 years old. Luis Rivera had not been a famous man. He had not been a wealthy man. He worked 6 days a week managing a residential construction crew. Came home smelling like sawdust and concrete. And on Friday evenings after dinner, he walked into the garage, lifted a 1978 Fender Stratocaster off the wall, where it hung like a painting, and played the only song he'd ever fully learned, Black Magic Woman, badly, beautifully, completely. Marco would sit on an overturned 5-gallon paint bucket and watch his father's hands move across those strings the way some kids watch fireworks, like something that existed outside of ordinary life, like proof that the world contained more than what we could see. Lewis bought that guitar at a San Antonio pawn shop in 1997 for $340. He had saved for it across 3 months of packed lunches and skipped overtime drinks. He never upgraded, never replaced the strap that had been repaired twice in record. He didn't need to. That guitar was not an instrument for him. It was the place where Luis Rivera went to be fully, quietly himself. After Louis died, Marco's mom wrote him, packed the Stratocaster into its cracked case, and put it in the bedroom closet. She was earning $1,400 a month, working the cafeteria line at Jefferson High School. She had a mortgage, 2 utility bills, and a son who had stopped speaking. later that he didn't because he was starting to forget the exact sound of his father's laugh. He thought maybe the guitar still remembered. He lifted it off the table. He pressed his fingers to the strings. He began. What happened next? Nobody got him. Not Raymond, not his teachers, not even Marco himself. Because the boy who opened that closet, looking for his father's voice, found something else entirely. He found his own. Marco practiced every single day for 2 years. Not casually, not the way teenagers practice things they think they already did. He practiced the way someone practices when they are trying to hold on to something that keeps slipping. 4 hours after school, 2 more on weekends. His fingertips cracked and bled in the first month, then hardened into calluses so thick he could press a string to a fret and feel almost nothing except the note. Elena would fall asleep on the couch at 10 o'clock and wake at midnight to the sound of that Stratocaster coming from Marco's bedroom, turned down low so the neighbors wouldn't complain, but never fully silenced. He never told him to stop. She understood, without either of them ever saying it directly, that the guitar was where her son went to be with his father. By the time Marco was 16, he had logged more than 2,000 hours on that instrument. He wasn't polished. He hadn't had a single formal lesson. His technique had gaps that a trained eye would catch immediately. But there was something in the way he played that his school music teacher, Mr. Aldridge, noticed on the afternoon Marco finally agreed to play for him on the empty band room. Mr. Aldridge had taught guitar for 19 years. He had heard hundreds of teenage players come through that door. He sat and listened to Marco play for 6 months without saying a word. When Marco finished, Mr. Aldridge looked at him and said simply, "Where did you learn to do that?" Marco shrugged. "From my dad," he said, and then from trying to remember my dad. It was Mr. Aldridge who told Marco about Stage 1. The nationally televised talent competition broadcast on Friday nights to an average of 8 million viewers. Filmed that season at the Majestic Theater in downtown San Antonio. Submissions were open. The audition format was simple. 2 minutes on stage, live panel judging, immediate verdict. Mr. Aldrich said he thought Marco was ready. Marco said nothing for a long time. Then he said he'd think about it. He submitted his audition tape to Raymond 3 weeks later on a Tuesday afternoon at the school library. He recorded it on his phone, propped against a stack of textbooks. He played 90 seconds of Black Magic Woman. He submitted it before he could change his mind, and then closed the laptop and walked home without telling anyone, not even his mother. 6 weeks later, the acceptance email arrived. Marco printed it at the library and folded it into his jacket pocket and carried it there for 4 days before he told Mr. Aldrich. He never told Elaine. He didn't know how to explain it to her without explaining everything. The guitar, the closet, the 2 years of midnight practice. And some things were too large and too private to fit inside a regular conversation. The morning of the audition, he left before Elaine woke up. He took the Stratocaster in its cracked case, caught the 6:15 bus downtown, and walked the last 9 blocks to the Majestic alone. He stood outside those doors for 11 minutes before he entered. He did not know that Carlos Santana would be sitting at that judge's table. Nobody had told him. The celebrity guest slot had been kept entirely off the promotional materials. When Marco walked out from the wings and saw that face, that unmistakable face beneath that black hat, he stopped mid-step. His throat froze. His hands went cold on the neck of the guitar. Because that face belonged to the man who had recorded Black Magic Woman in 1970. The same song his father had played every Friday night in a garage on Esperanza Street for as long as Marco could remember. This is the part where most people would have walked straight back into those wings and never looked back. Marco didn't. Subscribe right now and stay with this, because what happens next changes everything. Marco walked to the center of that stage, and the lights hit him all at once. 4,000 watts of white stage lighting that turned the audience into a dark mass and made the judges' table look like it was floating. He adjusted the Stratocaster strap across his shoulder. The same electrical tape repair his father had made in 2004, pressing against his collarbone like a familiar hand. He set his feet. He looked at the strings. He did not look at the panel. He played the opening riff of Black Magic Woman, and it came out clean, cleaner than he expected. The nervousness in his hands somehow settled the moment the first note left the body of that guitar and moved through the theater's sound system and rose into the upper levels of that 4,000-seat room. He could feel the audience receiving it, not with wild enthusiasm, but with attention, with that particular quality of silence that means people are actually listening, rather than simply waiting for something to happen. 47 seconds in, the buzzer fired. Marco stopped. The note died. The silence that replaced it was a completely different kind. Sudden, brutal, pressurized. Derek Chase leaned forward. His expression was not angry. It was something more deliberate than anger. It was the expression of a man who had decided something before the performance even began, and was now simply delivering the verdict he had already written. Stop. Just stop. He let the words sit there. Let the room feel their weight. 11 years I have sat at this table. 11 years of auditions. And I want you to understand something. What you just did was not music. What you just did was three chords, played badly, played slowly, played without a single moment of genuine skill or originality. You have no technique. You have no timing. You have no stage presence whatsoever. Derek paused. His voice dropped half a register, which somehow made it worse. That guitar. That guitar looks like it belongs in a landfill, not on a professional stage. Wherever you got it, whoever told you that you were ready to stand up here in front of this audience, they were wrong. Completely wrong. Go home, son. Find something you're actually capable of. Because music is not it. 4,000 people did not move. Marco stood at the center of that stage and did not cry. His jaw was locked. His eyes were bright and wet and absolutely fixed on the body of the Stratocaster hanging from his shoulder. His father's guitar. His father's electrical tape on his strap. His father's song, still dangling somewhere in the room, and in 47 seconds he'd been allowed to play. He was doing what Luis Rivera had told him once, sitting in the garage on a Friday night, when Marco was 9 years old and had come in from school, upset about something some other kid had said. His father had lifted him over the guitar and said, "When somebody tries to make you feel small, you go still. You breathe. You let the moment pass through you like weather. You don't let it build a house inside you." Marco went still. In the third row, a woman covered her mouth with both hands. Two teenage girls near the aisle looked at each other with expressions that moved past discomfort into something closer to anger. The other two regular judges were silent, one studying her notepad with unusual intensity, the other staring at a fixed point somewhere above the stage. Carlos Santana had not moved since Derek began speaking. Both hands flat on the table, hat aimed low. But something had changed in the quality of his stillness. It was no longer the stillness of a man watching. It had become the stillness of a man who has made a decision and is simply choosing the right moment to act on it. Anyone who had known Santana for more than 5 minutes would have recognized that stillness. His wife would have recognized it. His bandmates would have recognized it. It was the stillness that came just before he played the first note of the concert. The gathering before the release. Before embrace both calm when moments usually care. He walks the way a man walks when he is entirely certain of where he is going and entirely unbothered by who is watching.